Alright guys, welcome back to another book review video. I filmed one of these back in May about the books I read that month, and I have a new stack of books to talk about that I've read recently. Some of these I read in June, some in July, but these are my favorite books that I've read recently. Yeah, I talked a lot about these on my Instagram on Reels. Usually I make a reel about books once I finish them. It's Abby Reads a Lot, so if you want to get like a little synopsis of some of these books, check out my Instagram. It's always linked down below and you can watch those as they come out because I make them right after I finish the book, so you can get more up-to-date recommendations. But yeah, to start out, we're gonna go with Big Summer, which I talked about in my books I'm gonna be reading this summer video. And let me tell you, this book did not disappoint. It is like a thriller suspense book. Literally, okay, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It was kind of slow and hard to get into. It took me a minute to find my groove in this book. So it took me a little longer than normal to read this book, but once I really got into it, I was hooked. Like, it's so hard to describe books like this without giving too much away, but there's a murder and the main character, she is the one that finds the body, and it's one of her good friends, and she takes it upon herself to kind of solve the mystery of how and why her friend was murdered. And I don't know, there's lots of plot twists. It keeps you on your toes, and yeah, I highly recommend this one. I give it like a 3.5 or 4 out of 5 stars. Also, rating wise, I would rate this like PG-13, maybe PG like 16. There's a little bit of spicy stuff that happens, but not too much. It's not that bad. It's just at the beginning for like a little bit. So my next book is The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren, which Christina Lauren is actually 2 people. It's Christina and Lauren, but they write under one name. But this book, so good, like just like a chick flick book read. It's 2 in-laws that, I don't know if I would describe it. I guess they're in-laws. Their siblings got married to each other, so the girl's sister and the boy's brother got married, but at the wedding there is food poisoning, and everyone gets food poisoning except for the 2 of them, the main characters. And in order to not lose the money that they paid for the honeymoon, the 2 of them go on the honeymoon in place of their siblings. But they hate each other. So I don't know, you can kind of guess what happens. They hate each other. It's enemies to lovers, you know, the vibes. But there's a lot more complexity of their relationship. It doesn't just end like, oh, they come back happily ever after. There's more than that to it, which I really appreciate, and I love this book. So good. 4 out of 5, maybe 5 out of 5 stars. I read this so quick. Also, I would rate this like 18 plus, maybe 16 plus. I don't know. It's spicy. Another Christina Lauren book, which I got after I read that one because I loved it so much. This is My Favorite Half Night Stand. And as the name suggests, it is spicy. There is some sex, but it's really good. It's about this friend group that's like 5 boys and 1 girl, and the girl and one of the guys who is her best friend, they hook up, and they decide they're just gonna ignore it and move on with their lives, but they match on a dating app. And she knows that it's him, but he doesn't know it's her. And she continues to message him on the app without telling him. And he ends up falling for this girl that he's been messaging on the app without knowing that it's one of his best friends. And it's really good. I highly recommend. And yeah, I give this one like 4 stars. Not as good as The Honeymooners, but still really good. Next is Sunrise by the Sea by Jenny Colgan. This book, literally you can't go wrong with a Jenny Colgan book. They're always so heartwarming and wholesome. I've read multiple of her books. They're always set in such like cute, quaint towns. This one, there's other ones that come before it with the same characters, but honestly, you don't need to read any of the other ones. You could just read this one and be set. Like, it's a series, but that have the same characters, but like you could read this one standalone and it would still be really good. It's this girl that struggles with anxiety and depression after her grandfather dies, so she moves to this island off the coast of Cornwall in England, and she is just trying to get away, but her neighbor kind of forces her out of her shell and helps her get over the grief of losing her grandfather, and it's really good. Next, we have The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This book is the ultimate enemies to lovers. I highly recommend. It's two coworkers who hate each other, but they're up for the same promotion, and as they're fighting for this promotion, they start to realize that maybe there's something more to their relationship. And obviously I don't want to give the whole plot away, but it's really good. Definitely 18 plus, but I highly recommend. If you love enemies to lovers, this is your jam. Next, Better Than the Movies. This book, I finished this in literally 4 hours. It was so good. The main character, she is trying to get with this guy who she thinks is her perfect man, and she enlists the help of her neighbor who she doesn't get along with, but her neighbor is good friends with the boy that she's trying to get with. So she pretends to be dating her neighbor so that she can hang out more with the guy that she really wants to end up with. But she ends up falling for her neighbor, as you can guess. But she is a hopeless romantic who loves rom-coms, and she compares her life to that. And honestly, I really related to her because I'm also a hopeless romantic and love rom-coms, and I wish this would happen to me, because this honestly made it me even more of a hopeless romantic, because this girl finds her literal chef's kiss man. He is amazing, like brooding, handsome, tall, dark, and handsome vibes. I rate this a 5 out of 5 stars. One of my favorite books that I read this year, literally my favorite. And last but not least, this one is pretty much the only one that's not like a romance in the romance genre. Serpent and Dove. This one is a close second to Better Than the Movies. It is so good. Like, there's witches and witch hunters and magic. It's forbidden love, everything all wrapped up in one. So good. The main character is a witch herself who is forced into marriage with a witch hunter, and he doesn't know she's a witch, but she has to hide it from him so that she can survive. She has run away from her coven because her mom has this whole plan to get revenge on the kingdom by using her, and she doesn't want to be a part of it. But it is so good, and it's a trilogy. The newest one just came out. I'm currently reading the second one. It's on my bed right now, which I should have said at the beginning. Excuse my unmade bed. But I'm currently reading the second one, and so far it is so good. This one is a 5 out of 5 stars. I highly recommend. I accidentally ripped the cover off the back, but it's really good. A good book. So those are all of the books that I read recently. If you have any recommendations, if you've read any of these and you have one that you think is similar, then please comment it down below. I'm always looking for new books. And yeah, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys. Mwah.